新的视角，禅院草是超人. New perspective. Chanyuan celestials are superhumans. They form Buddha. November 19, 2008. First, I approach this topic with holographic-based thinking. When you encounter something you don't understand, resist the urge to dismiss it outright. It's similar to when I first claimed that romantic love is a precious gift from the greatest creator that humans should fully enjoy. Many couldn't comprehend this idea at the time. Superhuman philosophy originates from the German philosopher Nietzsche. Because Nietzsche declared, "God is dead," and eventually died of schizophrenia, his philosophy of the Übermensch was almost entirely rejected. However, I want to bring Nietzsche back into focus, offer a fresh perspective on his philosophy, and encourage every Chanyuan celestial to become a superhuman. The core of Nietzsche's Übermensch philosophy is to reevaluate all traditional moral and cultural values, and to build a new value system based on a fresh worldview, outlook on life, and concept of values. The superhuman embodies a new morality distinct from traditional and popular norms. A superhuman is someone who exemplifies the will to live, possesses immense creativity, and is a strong figure in life. They transcend themselves and the weak, fully expressing their individuality and governing the mediocre. The superhuman becomes the benchmark for truth and morality, the creator of norms and values. Superhumans are free, self-sufficient, and confident, capable of shouldering any burden and facing hardships with courage and perseverance, never giving up until their goals are achieved. Superhumans face humanity's greatest pain and understand the greatest suffering and hope of humanity. They grow up in adverse environments, and suffering, pain, and trials can only make them stronger. They are not weak or petty but rich, great, and complete beings. Humanity does not need despotic tyrants or fascists, but it absolutely needs superhumans. Current reality. Take a look at our world today. The Chanyuan values bring joy, freedom, and happiness to individuals and offer hope for humanity as a whole. Yet, how many people have responded to this vision in the years we've shared it? How many are willing to contribute their talents and wisdom to the creation of the Life of Chanyuan era? How many are truly committed to upholding and practicing these values? Only a handful, just a few dozen Chanyuan celestials. Most people are struggling in the sea of suffering, hoping others will be honest, selfless contributors, saints, while they themselves are neither honest nor interested in serving others or society. They simply seek to maximize their own interests: fame, status, wealth, beauty, power, freedom, and happiness. They either turn a blind eye to noble ideals or attack them outright. Reasoning with such ignorance proves futile, as evidenced by the millions of words we've spoken to no avail. Pure kindness and forgiveness toward the ignorant can harm them and degrade society. The only solution is for superhumans to lead. Take Zimbabwe as an example. With 80% unemployment, people are struggling to survive, let alone enjoy life. Is the problem solely with Mugabe's regime? No. It's an issue with the entire populace. Delve deeper, and you'll find 95% of the population are natural-born tricksters, thieves, looters, insatiable parasites who want something for nothing. Democracy will not work with such people, and reason is ineffective. Democracy and reason are ineffective for such groups. Even among the 50% identifying as Christians, their faith seems confined to church gatherings, as outside they act selfishly. Such people require superhuman leadership. Otherwise, suffering will persist indefinitely. Leading humanity. Instead of letting others lead us, we should lead them. Instead of being hurt or oppressed by ignorance, let us inspire fear, envy, and admiration in those who are primitive and uninformed. When Jesus Christ walked the earth, he should have used divine power and superhuman will to unite humanity, rather than relying solely on preaching. When Buddha Shakyamuni lived, he should have unified the world through spiritual power, not just compassion. When Laozi shared his wisdom, he shouldn't have solely advocated natural law and non-contention, but emphasized the principle of oneness. When Prophet Muhammad established his vision, he should have eradicated the institutions of family, political parties, religion, and nations, rather than merely conquering cities and territories. Marx, Lenin, and Mao Zedong preached the abolition of private property and the implementation of communism, yet they left the family, the most entrenched bastion of private property, intact. This failure led to the ultimate collapse of the communist movement. The nature of humanity. Most people fear strength and exploit weakness. They covet fame, wealth, beauty, and power, while masking their desires behind a facade of morality. When they fail to achieve something, they dismiss it as worthless. Such people are selfish and hypocritical. If you disguise yourself as a beggar and plead for food, you will see people's true faces. Even those who are pitiful themselves will look down on you with disdain. Yet, if you pose as a masked bandit wielding a blade, even the most prideful will drop to their knees, begging for mercy and offering their possessions. History offers stark examples. During the Second Sino-Japanese War, we have seen footage of just 2 or 3 Japanese soldiers subduing dozens of Chinese people. These Chinese individuals, who were adept at squabbling and scheming against their own brothers and sisters, turned into cowards when faced with a formidable enemy. Such people should not be treated as equals. They should be governed from a position of superiority. One must elevate oneself to the level of a superhuman to lead and command them, building a strong inner circle. Even within Life Chanyuan, when some individuals slander, defame, or attack Life Chanyuan, particularly Xiefeng, a few of my brothers and sisters fail to muster even the slightest courage to speak up. They dare not make a sound or stand their ground. These are the same people who in ordinary times talk a great game, their words more impressive than a song, but when faced with real challenges, they become dispirited and spineless. I have nothing but disdain for those who lack integrity and backbone. Though Life Chanyuan is not a political or religious organization, we are bound as family, brothers, sisters, and lovers. If anyone among us is bullied, our first response should not be to analyze who is right or wrong but to collectively defend them. Only by fostering this unity can Life Chanyuan accumulate the energy and deterrence needed to guide humanity toward the Chanyuan era. Otherwise, we are no better than a pile of scattered sand. Look at the Muslim world, the Italian mafia, or Mao's China. Who dared challenge them? Life Chanyuan must surpass them all in excellence, discipline, and strength. Leadership beyond nations. Nations should not exist. The most civilized and wise should lead humanity and its regions. When I asked grassroots Zimbabweans whether life was better under white rule or their own governance, they unanimously said it was better under white leadership. This proves colonialism was correct. National independence and self-governance are regressions in human civilization. Even Hitler's core philosophy was sound. The world should be unified and managed by the most capable. His methods were secondary to this vision. Life Chanyuan members, or Chanyuan Celestials, are not bound to any existing nationality. We are a new kind of people, armed with the way of the greatest creator. A superior human race destined to lead the world, purify humanity, and restore Earth. We are a new breed of humanity. We are superhumans. When faced with challenges, we are fearless. Even in the face of death, we remain unshaken. Our expressions unchanging, our hearts steady, our eyes fixed, daring to confront whatever comes our way. Blow me up if you dare. If you can't, but you so much as lift a bomb against me, I'll make sure you're the one who gets blown up. Action over complaints. Many lament the injustice of the world. But what good does shouting about it do? For thousands of years people have cried out, yet has the world become fairer? The oppressed are like blades of grass, endlessly harvested and regrown, just as corrupt officials rise one after another. Complaints and dissatisfaction achieve nothing. If you truly want to change the world, strap on an atomic bomb and blow it all up. Can't do that? Then either conform to the system or refuse to compromise and take real action. But stop indulging in empty talk. How do we change it? Chanyuan Buddha not only clarifies the root of the issue, but also puts forward a series of measures and methods. These involve creating a new operational framework for society based on the Life Chanyuan values. First, we must integrate ourselves into this structure, test it, and perfect it. This is one of the main purposes of building the second home. Reassessing Nietzsche. Now let's return to Nietzsche, who proposed the philosophy of the superhuman. I have endeavored to immerse myself in his thoughts and found that he has been widely misunderstood. At the age of 25, he was appointed as a professor of classical philology at the University of Basel, a role that highlighted his extraordinary talent and brilliance. This alone proves that his mind was not chaotic but exceptionally sharp. He confronted the collapse of traditional values in his era and sought to redefine the meaning of life. Today we recognize that many traditional human values, Life perspectives and worldviews are incorrect, inverted, and do not align with the way of the greatest creator. Over a century ago, Nietzsche loudly proclaimed the need to reevaluate all values. He was keenly aware of the flaws and shortcomings in traditional values and proposed their reassessment. His perspective stemmed from a vantage point far removed from the constraints of his time, similar to how I view humanity's current values from the coordinate system and perspective of the thousand-year world. Nietzsche's insights were ahead of their time. Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, Superman, was his way of envisioning individuals who could transcend the flawed values, life perspectives, and worldviews of humanity to create something new. This idea was profoundly correct. Even Adolf Hitler was influenced by Nietzsche's Superman philosophy, using it as inspiration for his own actions. When Nietzsche declared, "God is dead," his words did not reflect a denial of God's existence. Instead, he sought to emphasize that humanity could not rely solely on God to resolve its problems. Nietzsche urged people to take initiative and harness their willpower to actively confront humanity's challenges. He grew frustrated with those who continued to pray and wait for divine intervention while doing nothing themselves. This frustration led him to the provocative statement, "God is dead," to shock humanity into action. Furthermore, Nietzsche was critical of Christianity and rejected the God depicted in the Bible, which also contributed to his statement. Why did Nietzsche ultimately succumb to mental illness and die? The primary cause was his long-term inability to gain understanding or acceptance of his ideas, coupled with the crushing loneliness this imposed on him. This isolation led to his psychological collapse. It was not due to contradictions in his philosophy or a lack of clarity in his thinking. However, it's possible that his fate might have been different had he not uttered the controversial phrase, "God is dead." That said, we cannot adopt all of Nietzsche's ideas wholesale, particularly his extreme measures. Instead, we focus on his notion of the Übermensch because humanity today urgently needs individuals with extraordinary qualities to resolve the current chaos. This article ends here. Its perspective might seem strange and unsettling at first. I hope you hold on to your current views for now, and we'll take the time to analyze and explore them together.